Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. And with me is Sam West. Today, we're going to be talking about the spell Contact Other Plane. Sam, you're not a fan of this spell.
No, I am not.
I'm not either. And for similar reasons to you, no, not similar, additional reasons to you. The points you made are all valid. My biggest one, however, is the metagaming thing. I find there are too many spells like this. There's augury, divination, commune with nature, and there's other ones. It's just so many spells that let you ask the DM questions. Well, I'm sorry, ask questions to a denizen of other planes or bullshit. You're asking the DM questions.
You're asking God. You're saying, "Hey, DM, what is the answer to this problem? How do we do a thing? Can we have the answers, please? Pretty. I don't want to explore anymore. I just want you to tell me."
Right.
Is what they feel like a lot of the time.
But this one is particularly bad for the reasons you spelled out. So why don't you take that away?
Okay. Oh my God. So okay. Let's start. It's a ritual spell. Contact Other Plane, you never have to spend a 5th level spell slot to cast it. So normally I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. All right, sure, whatever. I guess for the commune spells, this being a ritual, doesn't look like it has any like major gold component costs or anything, right? So this, okay, what's up with this?
The dungeon master rolling his eyes cost.
Yeah, that's always the cost whenever you consider casting these. And while I will shit on the commune spells regularly, I know that there are tables where it is helpful. There will be new DMs that use them as a means of being, oh God, I can't believe they're not getting it. Commune help. In any case, though, this one has the right words for it to be one of those spells, but it also has the very, 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 very wrong words. And those very wrong words are, you have to make a saving throw when you cast this. Already we're in red flag territory. That's already just like a big flashing red light. Something is wrong. It's DC 15, which at 5th level, okay, DC 15 int save. If you're a warlock, you're pretty boned because you're probably not taking that high of an in on that class. You're a charisma caster. So yeah, I mean, this is one of the many spells. Don't ever cast this as a warlock. If you're a wizard, that's still probably like a 50-50. Like if you're getting like a +7-ish to the check, that's not great odds. It's not the worst odds ever, but you're not guaranteed that. If you fail it, the spell does nothing. You take 266 psychic damage. That's what we're starting.
You go insane, right?
Yeah.
All right.
You then, until your next long rest, you are insane. You can't take actions. You can't understand what creatures say. You speak only in gibberish, and you need someone to greater resto you, or that lasts until your next long rest. Now, granted, when you're casting this, you're probably in a situation because it takes a minute, and you're probably ritualing it, so you're taking 11 minutes. So you either have time for like a short rest, probably, or you're like at the beginning of a long rest or at the end of a long rest. So conceivably, you can try and line this up so that is a moot point. There's no reason it should be on the spell. There's no reason whatsoever there needs to be this ridiculously wild of a penalty for a spell that is conceivably going to tell you absolutely nothing.
Well, that's the other thing. It's got written in the text that like most of the answers you get are unclear or irrelevant, or even if you make your saving throw, you're probably not going to get your answer.
Like, it doesn't specify that the extraplanar entity is going to be truthful or have motivation. So you're going to run into tables where there will be DMs that are like, no, that's stupid. Of course, this is going to be truthful. Of course, I'm going to give you the information you ask for. If you ask, are we doing the right thing? I'm going to say yes, because I'm an upstanding DM and want you to feel good about yourselves. There are also going to be DMs that are going to be dicks with it and just tell you, no, unclear, boldface lie to you. Like, this is going to cause communication breakdowns and problems, and already has a ridiculous risk attached to it. If you ever spend a minute casting this in the middle of a dungeon and you happen to roll insanity, you just lock yourself out of a session for no reason. Like, it is profoundly stupid. You can compare it to all the other effects that do functionally the same thing. Commune does functionally the same thing. And you're not having any risk of not getting to play the game until your next long rest.
And what level is Commune?
It's beyond stupid. I believe it's a 4th level spell. Let me double check.
And what is this one?
The 5th level spell.
5th level. And what? I gotta look up, what does augury do? Because that's a similar thing. That just tells you
There are a lot of information gathering spells like this. This is you ask 5 questions. Augury, I think, is the Wheel Woe one. It's 2nd level. So this tells you, like, are good things going to happen with augury? Oftentimes that's good enough. You can be like, I'm going to contact an extraplanar entity and hope they know about that changeling we're chasing after and what their real identity is, and then we can guess at it. It can be a situationally dependent. We need the answers to, is the dark relic hidden within this super dark pit that clearly the DM has been pointing to for the last 12 sessions? Like, yeah, it's going to confirm your suspicions, but augury is going to do something good enough similar to it, and it only costs you 2nd level slot. It's not in wizard graded, but okay, you shouldn't. Why does that matter here? Community is also level, but
I think any of these spells is going to come down to how your dungeon master's personality. Like,
oh, for sure.
If he's going to be a dick, he's going to be a dick. If he's going to be cool, then you probably don't even need these. He's probably just going to have some NPCs say, "Hey, did you check out the wall over there? Maybe there's a secret door." Something like that.
And like in the instances, right? Whenever we say your DM being a dick, that isn't necessarily just the DM's trying to dodge questions for a reason. It might just be the DM likes the puzzle solving element of it, knows other players at your table like the puzzle solving element of it, and whenever someone casts the spell to solve the problem, casts the contact other plane to say, "Hey, plane tar, you know about the churches. Is the evil big bad at the top of this church?" The puzzle solving problem of it, the interesting like elements of world exploration that could come with that. If the DM gives you the answer straight away, that feels like it detracts from everyone else's gameplay experience. But in that instance, that one player that cast the spell feels like the DM's just not letting them do the thing that the game's telling them they can do.
I apologize, DMs. Sam is correct. You're not all dicks. Some of you are, but no. They might just want you. They've got this quest set up, and you casting the spell and making your saving throws is going to ruin everything that is set up.
It really feels like no end of this spell is net positive for the game. It really feels like no matter the outcome of when you cast this spell, you either shut off your ability to play the game for a while, which could be moot if you're already long resting, but it means you're not doing anything else over the course of that long rest, and that does have some amount of real penalty sometimes. It also means if you succeed, sometimes you either circumnavigate a problem that could have been interesting, you receive information that you missed prior, or that's like the best case scenario, or your DM doesn't give you the information you're looking for and you feel like you've wasted resources. You feel like you shouldn't have prepared this in the first place. It feels like you should have added this to your spell book. If you're a warlock, you shouldn't have ever come anywhere near this. Because you have to, if you wanted to use this as a warlock as a ritual, you have to both take the invocation to give you the book that gives you ritual casting, because they, for some reason, aren't also ritual casters. And you also have to then, because if you don't do that, if you don't take the ritual stuff, you have to learn the spell and then spend one of your 3 spell slots casting it. Nope, that ain't it. Don't do it. I'm gonna rant about warlocks forever if I'm allowed to. So,
oh no, go for it. The only other question I had was how this compares to other similar spells, but I think we kind of covered that already.
So hypothetically, you get slightly different information, right? This is supposed to be beseeching the aid of otherworldly entities that aren't deities necessarily, but so much of the time deities are just like the difference between a deity and an extraplanar entity gets really muddled and messy, especially whenever you're looking at like personal people's view on their lore and stuff. Sometimes gods are people you can just walk up to, punch in the face, and kill. Other times gods are these abstract ideas that don't directly speak to people, but are believed to exist, and they hold some kind of mythology. And all of that then fits kind of this odd extraplanar scope. So most of the time it's going to feel like, well, these spells are kind of supposed to be interchangeable. And it doesn't say like, how omnipotent is a creature is a question you always will find yourself asking. If you look at like versus commune is asking specifically a deity or a divine proxy of the deity, which is definitely just an extraplanar creature, right? That is just what contact their plane does. And you're in these odd spaces of like, well, I want to talk to Asmodeus because I think he would know most about the devils, but the DM would have to figure out if Asmodeus knows about the devils or if Asmodeus like even exists in this world. And you get these weird, jumbled, messy, do all these just do the same thing? In some settings they do, and others they definitely don't.
Yeah, I think it depends on the table, because I think you need a special table to where these differences are going to matter at all, because at the at any of the tables I've ever played at, any of these spells is just, I want to ask the DM a question.
Yeah. I think the one exception is Commune with Nature, because that's very specifically learning about the terrain. I think that's the most acceptable one of these. That not to say like Augury is that bad either. Augury at least is just like, is this stupid? Are we being stupid, DM? The DM can be like, yes, you're being stupid. Because the DM always says, yes, you're being stupid. Because normally, if we're going to be honest, as players, we're all being stupid. But it's, I don't know. I for one, dislike the fact that it references other planes entirely. I stand by that. I think extra planar nonsense should be firmly outside the player's handbook, because that just doesn't fit so many games. So many games are going to be bound to a single location. So many people are going to want to facilitate just, some form of history, some element in mythology. They're going to want to emulate their own cool, different worlds and ideas, and just stapling on everything is going to be somewhat cross-planar. You're going to be able to go visit Plains of Fire. You're going to be able to go to the Shadowfell. There are named iconic places in spell descriptions. Now there's this weird burden on the DM to either flesh all that out or tell the players no. And in neither of those instances, I think it's great. That's why I think they just don't need to exist in this form.
Yeah, and also,
great as supplemental content, but
you're contacting other planes. I mean, you can go to other planes with different spells. It's not like, you can ask these same questions. You should be able to, right?
Yes. If you have the ability to planar travel, you don't need contact with other plane, because you can physically drive up to your local librarian on the Plane of Fire in the city of Brass and ask them to look it up for you.
But they're not going to do that.
No, they're not.
Because you're, just your average schmo on other planes, isn't even more knowledgeable about, whether this orc is a liar or not, or whatever,
I will say I wish this opened up more direct dialogue, because I think that would at least open up some fun role-playing moments where like you contact a long dead sage and find out it's just some eccentric, crazed individual that's just really obsessed with like possums or something, and you have these bizarre conversations that could be fun role-playing moments at least. But it's not. You don't even get like fun out of it. You just get yes. No,
I mean, you could
unclear.
again. That is also up to the DM. Or no, or
true.
If those
you
are your
can
options.
make up whatever rules you want.
Yeah, but I mean, this long dead sage, and he's not obsessed with possums, but he's got his own agenda. I'll tell you what you want to know, but you got to go kill this guy for me. Avenge my death.
Like, at the very minimum, that could be a jumping off point for another plot hook, but spell also just doesn't technically do that.
Yeah.
This spell is bad. This spell is frustrating. I don't like any element of it. It, as a functional spell, 1 out of 5, complete utter garbage, literally uncastable at the vast majority of people. There's no reason you should put this on your character sheet. Find a cleric commune if you need to ask these questions. Like, honest to God, there's no reason you should put this on a character sheet. Ask it.
All right, 1 out of 5. I think I agree with you. Well, I guess that's contact other plane. All right, that was contact other plane. Sorry,
not there.
Based
You're
off
doing great, Bob.
I was contacting another plane.
Oh,
right.
That's what it was. I understand.
You
had to ask the weird demigod that exists somewhere else in time and space. The DM has to come up with off the spot the name of the.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Sam, and thank you, listeners and watchers, for joining us tonight. See you in the future.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.